Congratulations, we are on the last Excel module, which is about selecting cells. We're going to learn different ways to do that, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to click Create New and make a new blank workbook. And it wants us to select a single cell by clicking A9. And then it wants to select a range of cells by holding the left mouse button down. And when you see this little plus arrow, not this, but this white one, you're going to click down and drag to cell C5. So there's the letter C up here at the top, and we're going to go to where it is aligned with the number 5. And it should just look like this picture right here. As soon as you've done that, click Mark as Answered, and let's move on to the next part. We're going to select an entire column by clicking on the column E header. Notice that when you hover above or near a column, you get this black down arrow. When you click, it selects everything in that column for what feels like forever. Now it wants us to select an entire row by clicking on the number 14. It says here, notice that, everything in 14 is selected. I'm going to go ahead and do our last step here, which is to select the entire worksheet. The way you can select everything in a worksheet is by clicking on this little arrow here in the top corner. Now the whole thing is selected. All right, moving on to task 3. We're going to select more than one, this is called non-contiguous range of cells. And the way we're going to do that is by using the Control key. Now, let's go ahead and get started with this. It wants us to select, the first part of this is easy. It wants us to select cells B4 to B7. And then we're going to hold the Control key and select cells D11 to E18. And you might be wondering, why am I selecting these cells? Like, what's the whole point of this? In later modules, you're going to have to deal with data that's not next to each other, and you might want to select it to where you don't have to select and copy and do it over and over again, to where you can just select the text that you need once and copy it, or do various different tasks with it. And so this is actually really important that you know how to select cells in all of these different ways. Okay, we got one more thing to do here, which is continue holding Control and select cells F2 to D3. So I'm going to hold Control, and I'm starting on F2, and I'm going all the way to D3. And so it should look like this picture, and it should look like how I've done it here. And if you've done that, then you can click Mark as Answered. We're going to move on to the last step. We're going to select cell A9, which is right here. And it says, while holding down Shift, press the arrow key to extend the range to cell C5. So if I move over to the left, that's in cell C9. And if I go up, if I use the up arrow on your keyboard, now we have reached cell C5. Now it wants us to release Shift. You can let go holding Shift. And it wants us to select another range of cells. We're going to select cell E10, which is right here. And while holding down Shift, you're not going to drag, you're just going to click in cell G15. And notice that it automatically selects all of the cells that are in between these two cells when you click Shift. And if you follow these directions, you can click Mark as Answered and click Submit, and let's see how we did. You should get a 100 if you followed all of these steps. Congratulations on completing Lesson 1, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in Lesson 2.